Before I start, I want you to pay close attention to the picture on the bottom left. It shows definitively that the female kind of attractive body with curves and so on and so forth, in some kind of nice dress, is the descendant of the idea of the martial art body. Are they an accurate representation of Pharaoh? No. Okay, they have hoarded themselves to Western culture, global culture, okay, to corporate culture, etc. If you think I'm wrong, please state your argument. I'm going to put that picture on the full screen at the very end of this video so you can take a screenshot, you can think about it, you can look it up yourself, what have you. Thank you. Okay, remember they're changing my voice. Okay, this video is about females and what it means to be a suitable helper. Now first, let's look at what the Jews were aware of in the Bible. Israel is right by Egypt. The Jews were in captivity in Egypt. They had no doubt in their mind, especially Moses, had no doubt in their mind that the top martial artist was the most suitable romantic person to date. It gets a bit confusing because it's not said as such in the Bible, right? We see in Saul offering his daughter to whoever can defeat Goliath, offering his daughter's hand in marriage, right? Talk about put things in God's hands, right? God's martial art warrior hands, his marshaling hands, his hands of control and creation, putting things in God's hands, okay? And offering his daughter, okay, Michal, okay, in his daughter's hand in marriage to whoever defeats Goliath, and David ended up defeating Goliath, okay? So he won that right to marry her, which he initially refused, but later on he claimed it even though she had gotten married to someone else. A story for another day, okay, if I'm not mistaken, okay? Now, when people were in Egypt, right, and these deities predate, these deities go back to the old kingdom for the most part. They predate the Jews going to Egypt, so the people in Egypt were well aware of who Sekhmet was, who Neith was, who Bastet was, who Isis was, okay? Isis was said to be the mother of Horus, okay? Isis, the deity of love. So the Egyptians were trying to describe, in the Osirian mysteries, okay? The Egyptians were trying to describe the process in which the ideal man is born, okay? That there's actual loyalty and divine love, okay? And then there is the stick-fighting priests of Osiris. Osiris was a martial artist, right? His priests were stick-fighting priests, right? Tativ, being straightforward and honest through the use of the stick, okay? Tat, I be, right? Who are you? I are, I am, the I am, okay? Who am I relative to everyone else? If you're the top martial artist in the Osirian mysteries or in any major Egyptian grouping, that means that you are Pharaoh in reality, okay? And Pharaoh is playing that role. That's why we see Ramses depicting himself. He's depicted as, a conqueror in the Battle of Kadesh. What is a more pronounced depiction of Ramses the Great, as he was called, than, him at the Battle of Kadesh on a chariot with a bow and arrow? Now, the Egyptians weren't stupid. They know that a little kid can shoot someone with a bow and arrow. The little kid shoots the top martial artist with a bow and arrow in the back or something, for example, during the midst of a brawl. Does he become the top martial artist? No, not even fucking close. No way. Stupid as hell. No. Okay? So they're looking for kind of nuance, kind of specific signs from the gods. They're not going to miss that. They're not going to miss that. Any dickhead can be a tyrant and use brute force. In fact, Set was a deity of brute force, where Horus was a deity of surgical striking, right? He was a falcon deity. The falcon flies at, 242 miles an hour when it dives. It hits a smaller bird. It wings it, right? Instead of hitting it directly on, or the falcon would die. So it hits with a surgical precision, going super fast, okay? And it flies the highest, right? And it strikes down. And there's all kinds. It has vision, and it flies closest to the sun, and so on and so forth, okay? So Horus is the ideal man. I am the ideal man in reality. After people did thousands and thousands of years of research, not for a moment was that idea contradicted. Horus was the archetype of Pharaoh, the monarch, the Ark of the Covenant, the archetype. When they say he's my type, right? He sweeps them off their feet, right? Love struck, martial arts strikes, martial and marital, the bridegroom, he's the archetype. Jesus in the Bible, Revelation 19, Jesus in the New Testament, talking about he's going to be at the right hand of the mighty one, coming on the clouds of the heavens, in his power, in his glory, as the avenging King of Kings, what have you. Horus, the Avenger. So this idea of the top martial artist being the ideal man was there. Now, who would try to impress him? If you were an ugly chick, would you think that you're going to win him over? No, you knew that you had no chance. It was not fair. Pharaoh, not unpharaoh. Fair maiden, someone who's fair enough to insist that this guy gets the best. If Pharaoh doesn't have anybody and she doesn't think highly of herself, then she will say that she doesn't think highly of herself, but she's going to respect his judgment. He's going to say, I want you to be one of my concubines, or I want you to be my wife. She's going to respect that argument. How much more in today's society? We're one of the most romantic injustice. America is a nation that is known almost first and foremost by romantic injustice. Gold diggers, porn, prostitutes, sex, Las Vegas, Sin City, whores in New York, the rotten apple. Almost first and foremost, it's known by romantic injustice. How much more, if someone's going to have any dignity or decency, must they present themselves to me? About 41 years old, and I've been shunned for decades. Shameful as hell. Every once in a while the government says, you're allowed to date this guy because we're playing a wordplay game or some bitch shit like that. Believe it or not, that's what they do. You can tell by how I'm describing things that I'm not an idiot, that I'm not delusional. Bastet, the cat and panther deity. Sekhmet, a lioness. Right? Both of them are depicted as sexy women, and they're attractive women. Mayat, the deity of order. Okay, order. Where the ideal and the order. Horus is the archetype of Pharaoh. So Mayat, by default, has to say this guy's ideal, or she's not Mayat. How can a woman who's a divine, not a secular, a divine order, point anywhere else but to me? You see what I'm saying? So truth and order. Truth. What is the truth? The way, the truth, and the life. Okay? All right. Bastet, a deity of dance. All these hot chicks and their sexy bodies, they're dancing, da-da-da-da-da. Some of them jog in the morning, so on and so forth. So dance and fitness in general. Sekhmet, a kind of warrior deity, right? A female might be in the military or in martial arts. All these females, some attractive female doing traditional martial arts or something. Ballet, right? All these females are supposed to see me as ideal because that's the truth of the situation. They're not supposed to disassociate and go, oh, who does that? And act like a fucking idiot. You see what I'm saying? So, according to the Bible, the Torah and the Quran, I'm the ideal man. They're supposed to submit. The whole world's supposed to submit. According to Egyptian mythology, according to martial arts systems, if you use a valid scale of character. According to Hinduism and Jainism and Buddhism, if you use a valid scale. Somebody who has the elements of a god, okay, is not to be treated like some schmuck. And if people are getting married, they're supposed to look to this guy first and foremost. This is one, according to basic math. You see what I'm saying? Math and mate, right? The words are very similar. Math, mate, mayat, order. You see how it's fucking outrageous that people are they're like lemmings. They're like Kelly Bundy. They're like Babs Bunny. They're like that blonde chick from The King of the Hill. Why don't they get it? I'm a dumb bitch. I'm a dumb bitch. I know life's short, but I'm a dumb bitch. Why is that their default stance? You see what I'm saying?